All right, let's get right into it. If you're part of the diaspora and you're looking for a serious investment opportunity back in Zimbabwe, agriculture has probably crossed your mind. Today, we're going to cut through all that noise and focus on one specific area: pig farming. Now, this isn't some get-rich-quick fantasy. This is a real, hard look at the numbers, the risks, and the actual strategy you need to win. So let's start with just one number: 80,000 tons. What's that? Well, that's the estimated pork production gap in Zimbabwe every single year. The country could be producing about 100,000 tons, but right now it's only doing around 20,000. That gap? That's your market. That is the opportunity right there. But here's the catch. This is the central paradox of the whole industry. On one hand, you've got this huge, hungry market. But on the other hand, you've got the cold, hard reality of razor-thin profit margins. And this is the tension, the tightrope that every single investor has to walk. The opportunity is massive, for sure, but the challenges are just as real. So let's get one thing straight right from the get-go, because it's the most important point of all. Just throwing money at this will not work. Success in Zimbabwean pig farming is earned. It's earned through meticulous, hands-on, day-in, day-out operational control. Your capital gets you a seat at the table, but it's that control that actually lets you win the game. Okay, so here's our game plan for today. First, we'll dive deeper into that pork paradox. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty, the capital, the costs, the timelines. After that, we are going to tackle the single biggest expense, what we're calling the 80% problem. Then we'll talk about how to fortify your farm. And finally, we'll pull it all together into the active investor's playbook. All right, first up, let's really break down this core tension. What do the numbers actually look like on the ground when you put that huge opportunity up against the daily financial reality of running a farm? You know, what's so powerful about this is just how clearly it lays out the financial tightrope you're walking. The data shows it costs you about $2.44 to produce 1 kilogram of pork. The price you get? Around $2.87. That tiny little window, that's your profit margin. We're talking about roughly 15%. That one number, that 15%, dictates every single move you have to make. Okay, so you get that the margins are tight. Now, what does it actually take to get started? Let's get practical and talk about the money. The capital you need, the costs you'll face, and, this is a big one, the timeline to actually seeing a return. Entry isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. You can dip your toes in with a basic setup for around $9,000. That gets you your core infrastructure and some stock. But if you're serious, a small to medium operation, say a 20-sow unit, you're looking at a bigger commitment, around $30,000. And if you're aiming for a true commercial scale, well, the banks suggest you need to be thinking $100,000 minimum. Now this is the part that tests an investor's nerve and their planning. From the moment you spend your first dollar, you are burning cash for 10 straight months. You're covering feed, salaries, vet bills, everything with zero income. It's not until month 11, almost a full year later, that you can expect to see your first real revenue come in. You absolutely must have the capital to survive that long winter. So, what does it take to just break even? For a standard 20-sow unit, the magic number is about 142. That's how many bacon or pigs, weighing around 100 kilos each, you've got to sell in a year just to cover your costs. It really makes your production target crystal clear, doesn't it? Okay, let's talk about the giant in the room. The one thing that will absolutely positively make or break your entire operation. It's not your marketing, it's not even your breeding stock, it's feed. This isn't just a line item on a spreadsheet. Mastering your feed is the master key to profitability. It's everything. I mean, just look at this chart. It's brutally simple, and it's so important. Your feed costs account for a jaw-dropping 75% of your total costs. Everything else, labor, vet bills, water, electricity, all of that is crammed into that tiny 25% slice. If you want to make more money, you have to attack the biggest piece of the pie. It's as simple as that. This number right here, this is your enemy, $3.01. That's roughly what it costs to produce 1 kilogram of live weight if you're just buying commercial, off-the-shelf feed. And given those tight margins we already talked about, that number is a recipe for disaster. It's just not sustainable. And this number, this is your solution, $1.79. By creating your own strategic feed mix on the farm, using things like sorghum, maize, or sunflower, you can slash your cost per kilogram by over 40%. This is the single most powerful lever you can pull to turn a tiny profit margin into a healthy one. So, you've figured out how to manage your costs. Great. Now, you have to protect your investment. A profitable farm is a healthy farm, and it's a compliant farm. This part is all about building a fortress against the two biggest outside threats: disease and bureaucracy. Look, I have to be incredibly clear here. African swine fever is not just another sickness, it's a potential farm killer, an existential threat to your entire business. It's endemic in the region, it's insanely contagious, it's almost always fatal. And this is the critical part: there is no vaccine. Prevention isn't just your best strategy, it's your only strategy. So what does that prevention actually look like? Well, it's not rocket science, but it is absolutely non-negotiable. We're talking proper perimeter fencing to keep wild pigs out. It means a strict quarantine protocol for any new animal that sets foot on your property. It means disinfecting every single vehicle that comes through your gate. And if you want to sell to the best markets, it means complying with national standards like ZQAP. And that fortress also has to be legally sound. You have to factor in the cost of compliance from day one. In Harare, for instance, just submitting a commercial plan can cost you over $700. Getting hooked up to water and sewage, that's another $1,000. And that's before you even get to the environmental regulations for waste, which are both mandatory and, you guessed it, costly. All right, we've gone through the opportunity, the costs, the risks. Now, let's bring it all home. This is the playbook. This is the strategy for turning that thin 15% margin into a real, sustainable, profitable business. And here it is. This might be the single most important piece of strategic advice we can offer. Do not just be a farmer who sells live pigs at the farm gate. If you do that, you are completely at the mercy of whatever price they offer you. The key is vertical integration. Process your own pork, make sausages, make bacon, sell it directly to customers. That's how you capture more value all the way up the chain. This slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? The choice is crystal clear. The passive armchair investor who just sends money from overseas, you're a sitting duck. You're vulnerable to fraud, and you're totally exposed to those low prices. But the active, hands-on operator, you're in the driver's seat. You control your costs, you manage your own biosecurity, and you integrate vertically to capture much, much higher profits. So when you boil it all down, the takeaway is this. This is not an asset you can just buy and watch grow from a distance. Success here is forged in the daily grind. It's earned through operational excellence, controlling every little variable, from what goes in the feed to the disinfectant at the front gate. And that really brings us to the final, crucial question, the one you have to ask yourself. All the analysis shows that there is a real opportunity in Zimbabwean pig farming, but it is not for the passive investor. The bottom line is this. Are you prepared to be a hands-on operator? Because your answer to that one question will determine everything.